I think I was in love with food from the second I really knew what went into food. How much heart and how much time and how much stress and how much yelling.
And tears also that's going on in the kitchen.
It's very repetitive, but it's always new. At the end of the day, really, really love what you're doing. You know, there literally is a fire to put out every day. So make sure that you're comfortable getting burned.
Hello.
Wow.
This is diabolical.
Today's theme is Roman cuisine because we have Roman Grandinetti coming and joining us on Campers. He is the owner and founder of Regina's. He now has 4 locations in New York City, but Roman has a wild story that he's going to dive into, and he is just true and true New Yorker. We are making Panelle, I think. Is it Panelli? Can I look up if it? P-A-N-E-L-L-E? Panelli. Panelle. Panelli. We are making Panelli. It is basically chickpea flour French fries. We want to get it a little bit thicker before we're going to lay it out on this pan and let it sit in the fridge to harden. A little bit more flour. It's getting there. So parsley is not necessarily always in this recipe, but I feel like it adds a nice layer of flavor. I might pop this in the freezer to speed up the process. We're gonna make our little side sauce. It's very unfortunate, but it's almost there. It's going to be little blobs out of the on the block. Hey!
How are you?
So good to see you. Oh,
Good to see you. What's happening?
you know, same old and everything in between. Come on in. A light Panelli snack.
Oh, wow. That is amazing.
I did not let sit in the fridge for long enough, so they're kind of like Panelli blobs.
That's great.
So the taste is there, but the shape is blob-like.
That's amazing. Just the feat of trying to do them, I respect. I am very, very psyched that you made it.
Well, I hope they're good.
It's like a Panelli nugget.
May I pour you?
Thank you very much.
But cheers.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for being here. I hope drinking at 3 o'clock in the afternoon
Works.
is okay on
No
a Friday.
problem. No problem.
It is Friday.
It's a holiday.
That's right. That's why my babysitter crapped out today. We'll get into kids a little bit
down.
and parenthood
Okay.
because I'm sure life has drastically shifted for you with a child.
Yes, it has.
I am super excited that you're here at Frank's, talking over wine at Campers,
Thank you very much.
hosted by food people.
Thank you. Thank you.
I, of course, have done some digging. I've read about you. I've watched about you. It was wildly entertaining. I feel like you have had 9 lives and 9 different careers. But I very much want to focus on food. But I would love to hear the journey of Roman.
I always looked up to the older kids from my neighborhood. And I always looked up to them because they were always leaving the neighborhood. It was always something that was very interesting to me. Mm-hmm. My father also worked outside of the neighborhood. I know it sounds interesting, but my neighborhood encompasses you and almost takes control of your life. And, you know, in a funny short, it's a little bit, fast forward a little bit later, I used to go out on Monday nights.
Okay.
And kids in my neighborhood would be like, you're going to the city on Monday. And it's like, yeah, it's no difference than going to the city on Saturday.
No.
But going to the city on Monday was like, what are you doing? You're an alien. Why would you do this?
Why were you going to the city on Mondays?
Where?
Why?
Oh, I was just going out. I wanted to go to clubs. I wanted to be a part of a different scene. I needed a change. Not that I didn't 100% fit in, but my family was my father's a makeup artist.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's very, very different.
Like film 3D, that.
Everything. Not he didn't do 3D and he doesn't do special effects or anything like that. But he was a classic makeup artist in like department stores.
Whoa.
And he grew with time. But he did like album covers back in the day, and he became a creative director for a very big brand and worked for them for years. But my father was always an artist. He was the oddball. He still was a Brooklyn guy. He was rough around the edges, but he had long hair. He had really cool style, totally different, and always pushed me to do something better. He also got me out of the neighborhood after ruffling some feathers when I was younger, but I found this love for graffiti, which I thought was my art form. I was infatuated with letters and numbers and space on paper. The older kids were doing it. But at that time, the older kids also, if you did graffiti, you also had like a uniform. And your uniform was vintage polo. It was such a like collector's world. So I grew up watching these kids and learning what like eBay was and learning what like searching was. That eventually led to Jordan. Jordan was something that was a collectible at that time and went hand in hand. And then there was steep techs and all of this other stuff that led to that fashion, which was something that motivated me to learn. So long story short, I looked at those people, I followed that, I got into art, and then that world stemmed into collecting. Collecting went into sneaker like reselling very, very early on.
Give me like an age range of where this is.
I must have been 19.
Young.
Yeah, I did an event called Sold Out NYC, and it was like resellers. It was on Elizabeth Street.
So cool.
I did 2,000 people my first event. I didn't know what was going on.
2,000 people, one room.
2,000 people, one room, 25 vendors selling sneakers.
Wow. One night event or multiple
days? 1 day
days?
event.
1 day, okay.
My friends and partners at the time end up now own the biggest sneaker event in the world, SneakerCon.
SneakerCon.
Yeah, we split. And I turned that world, that sneaker world, into a magazine called Connected. Connected came about because I was in the sneaker world. I was one of 9 at Bathing Ape when I was probably 20. Bathing Ape just came to America. My friend, who was a huge sneaker collector, assembled a team. He picked his 9 favorite people.
Wow.
I was one of them because I had the sneaker event. Long story short, whatever, Leo changed my life. I was hired. 6 months in, someone who I looked up to very oddly at my age was Steve Rifkin. Steve Rifkin had, it was SRC at the time, but he started a company called Loud Records. Loud Records was the loudest record agency in New York City. Wu-Tang, Big Pun, Mobb Deep. He was what the older kids listened to, which inspired me. His wife was wild. She walked in one day and she was like, every rapper comes in here and gets a discount, blah, blah, blah. No one knows who my husband is. He started it. I was on the second floor. I overheard her. I walked downstairs and I said, I know who you are. I'll get you a discount if you give me a job. 48 hours later, I was an intern
Hired.
at SRC.
That's amazing.
Steve believed in me. He backed me. He gave me super, super support. He made me sit outside of the office for countless hours packing records.
But were you able to hear like what was going on?
Yeah, but I got to always like overhear. That brought me to my love of records, DJing, and music, which I did later on. But getting to hang with Rifkin and starting to spit out my marketing ideas was amazing. And go back 2 steps, graffiti got me in a little trouble. Long story short, I went to High School of Art and Design for taking an art test. Out of 4,000 students, I was 300, and I went to school in Manhattan. I got out of Brooklyn. I went to school for advertising and marketing. It was my love. Kind of drove down that road. Mm-hmm. Steve, over time, loved my event. And then he gave me the like will and the power to start doing the magazine. And I turned the sneaker event into Connected. Connected was a free magazine. My first one was Pharoah Monch, which was signed to SRC. It was easy for him. And then I started learning the advertising game.
So the magazine was solely about sneakers.
It was about lifestyle, actually.
About lifestyle. Okay.
In that magazine, I did one of the first articles on, I used to do street vendors. It was a big thing for me. I didn't have a lot of money and I wanted to do street vendors. And I used to write about all the street vendors. I always loved food. A very good friend of mine who found me from the magazine points it out all the time. He's like, yo, you were always a foodie. It was a big section of mine. I always wrote about like really $5 like street chicken and rice. The Greek
I
guy,
see why
Dino.
maybe you like Pinelli.
Exactly. I actually was the first person to write about Calexico. They were my boys crazy long time
that magazine
ago.
is so cool.
So we did this thing. It worked out really well. I learned about advertising and I started learning a bit more about business. Steve, through the whole time, supported me. I got a chance to work on the Akon album. At the time, we broke Michael Jackson's record for having the #1 and #2 single in the world.
With Akon.
With Akon.
Damn.
Sadly, Katy Perry beat us.
Was that
Not happy
the
about
Lonely?
yeah, Lonely Out. There was all
I
of
was
that. So
obsessed.
and I got a chance to start working with Con for a very short period of time. And long story short, I just got like my own seat at Universal. And Steve really supported me. Steve backed me, but I was able to go to Def Jam. I was able to go to Republic. And I was this little wild kid running around collecting money.
Because you're still quite young. You, after art and design, you didn't go to more school. So you were young. You were young in these rooms with these people.
Yeah. So art and design messed you up. Because you were immediately...
It's kind of like college for young kids because it's so specific. I have a few friends that went and they were like, I went on to go to art school after that, but like I didn't really need it.
That's the problem. We automatically got admitted to any school we wanted because we were from art and design. So I took a year off. I made a huge mistake because I was like, oh, I'll just go to SVA next year. Yeah. I really wanted to go to culinary school. I had about $25. It wasn't going to work.
It's really expensive.
So I was like, okay, it's not going to work. But as the magazine was going, I felt like time was changing. I ended up meeting some of the guys from Vice. They were super supportive as well. And then one day I was like, you know what? Let's just turn this into an agency. And there was people walking around the office asking for if anyone knew anyone to put up posters. And I was sitting in my cubicle and I was like, put up posters. I was like, you probably do that shit at night. My cousin was printing my magazine and owns the biggest printing press in Mineola. And I was like, all my friends are graffiti artists. I was like, yo, I'll do it.
You'll figure it out.
They were like, first of all, who are you? And
you were still the intern at this point, or you were with
I kind of had like a seat. Steve was paying me, but I was essentially a bona fide intern.
Okay.
Long story short, we got the job. We killed it. Hired all my friends. My friends destroyed New York. It was their first time doing it. Done. Overnight, I had connected agency.
Wow.
And then...
So in that moment, the magazine shifted really quickly and you formed. You're like,
Magazine became agency. We started out doing repasting. I started selling my ideas to other people in the building. And Steve started pushing me to do so. Because Steve was starting a marketing agency at the time. He was bringing back like Helly Hansen and all this wild stuff that he did back in the day. But he started SRC, like street again. And I started doing murals. I started like hand painting monster murals, 60 by 100 by myself.
At that point was Colossal Media and...
Colossal Media was around.
They were already
around. They were beasts.
So they hated you guys.
Well, yeah, I'm probably sure they hated us. I never really got into the weeds with them. But what we were doing was we were noticing that New York City was taking down paid for bills on a street level. And they passed this law that art was, as long as it was considered art.
And not an advertisement.
It was able to be advertised. So I convinced this wise guy, literally on Kenmare, to give me his wall. And he believed in me, and he gave me 100 by 40 foot wall. Whoa. And we started destroying New York. We did Bob Dylan, The Gap.
Well, can we talk about the Bob Dylan ad for a second? Because that was the one with sound, right?
Yeah.
How did that work? It was a QR code?
It was the first augmented reality thing actually in New York City. What
year was that?
I don't even remember. I was
But like young. Way ahead of its time.
Yeah, I didn't even know what I was doing. I took a check.
In the best way, though.
I think. So we had the agency now for a couple of years. I had an office in a basement in Chinatown on Christie Street. We didn't even have windows. My grandma passed away. We took our couch. I had my bike. I went to Home Depot and bought kitchen countertop and drilled it into the wall so we had desks.
Oh my gosh.
And I made this makeshift office. We were selling vintage clothes at the time. And I was actually not doing so well. And I had this idea for sound graffiti for A$AP Rocky. I know Ferg for a long time. And we did Ferg's album. and we did a crazy mural for him for Trap Lord. But I was in the mix with Sony, and I had this crazy idea called Sound Graffiti. And I was like, yo, we're going to hit 100 locations in New York with sound. I had no idea what I was doing. A friend of mine invented this thing called a play button, and I thought it was going to change music. It was a wearable button that had an MP3 in it.
When you say wearable, like on
physical, put
like
on a pretty little button.
Got it. On a shirt, on a
On
necklace.
a shirt,
Okay. It
pin,
could really.
old school. It was called Play Button. Super, super ahead of his time. Started going around the office, and I was like, nobody likes it? I was like, no problem. I'm going to do this myself. Came up with this idea. I was like, I'll drill the button into 100 locations in New York City. I'll drill it into any wall I see. And all you got to do is have your headphones, you plug into it, and you listen.
It's really cool.
We were pitching that. And at the time, this kid was in my office, and he kept saying he could do augmented reality. I didn't even know what it was. I was like, yeah, sure. He did something, and he had a hologram in the office. He put a hologram in the office, geotagged the location, and you were able to touch it, and it was just open up an MP3 or a photo.
Whoa.
That's all that it did. So we sold this like dual package. Again, I tried to sell it to A$AP Rocky. Somehow, some way, it ended up on Bob Dylan's manager's desk.
I feel like that's almost better than A$AP.
I got a phone call. I thought it was A$AP Rocky. I had no money. When I mean no money, I was crying, not like sobbing, but back in the day, you had to buy a Metro card with dollars and cents. Mm-hmm. I only had nickels and dimes.
They don't take that.
And it spits it out.
Yeah.
So I was on Canal Street. I lived on Mott Street in Chinatown at the time. I took my change. I went to Broadway Lafayette. I walked, and I was putting in my change. And there's people behind me like, get off the line, you loser. Oh. So I started tearing because I only had change. So I'm putting it in. I finally get my Metro card. I get in the train. I get off on 57th Street, 1755. It was Sony. I'm walking to Sony on 5th Avenue. 1755 was Universal. I walk in. I walk out with $50,000.
Just like that. Contract was signed.
They said, we're going to do it. We believe in you.
So coming, you could barely get onto the train. Leaving, you were able to probably pay all the people in Connected.
I had to go downtown and tell everyone we have to build an augmented reality app in 2 weeks. I just sold us down like Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
But we were successful. It was one of the biggest things that Bob Dylan's manager said he's done. He said we changed the form of music. He said the only thing that he's upset about is that he couldn't work with us any longer.
Oh, that's amazing.
He took me to lunch. He was super, super nice. At the time, his office was in Union Square. It was super, super cool. And then the agency really took off. We started doing real wild, crazy stuff. And then we turned Play Button into the Connected 100, which kind of changed like the face of downtown at the time. We were the only people to do a private event at the New Museum besides, at the time, Lady Gaga and Terry Richardson.
What was the event?
It was the Connected 100.
Wow.
And we took 100 Play Buttons, and we got 100, at the time, tastemakers of New York, because they weren't influencers yet. But I had everyone from Pharrell, Yoko Ono.
All at this event?
At this event. We shut New York City down. I think I did about 3,000 people in front of the New Museum. The fire department came. It was absurd.
How old were you? Still like 20s. Young 20s?
Yeah, in my 20s.
My
lost.
God.
Very,
lost,
very
but
lost.
look at what you're figuring it out. It's like a fake it till you make it. Like just go until somebody stops you. Yeah. And it didn't really seem like anyone was stopping you.
Oh yeah. At that time, no one was stopping me. I was running through every wall I could. I wasn't stopping. I was taking everything in. I started just doing brand work, started doing what I love. Food was always what I loved. I ended up having this crazy office. I had a hammock, a basketball court. I had everything in my office. And it went from like X to Z. And I was like, you know what? This is stupid. I'm not going to re-sign my lease, but I do want a storefront. And all these old stores were closing. Magazine stores were closing. Anything textual that felt like New York was closing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to do connected like storefront. I'm going to put an espresso machine in there. And if I sell an espresso every day, that's $3 cheaper than what my rent is today. I don't sell anything. I was like, I'll be all right. Because I think in my heart, I always wanted to do food.
Well, I want to ask you, like, growing up in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, very Italian neighborhood at that point. I don't know if it still is very Italian or a little
Yeah.
mix. At what age did you fall in love with food? And was that family driven? Was that a specific taste of something? Like, how did you get this love affair?
I think I was in love with food from the second I really knew what went into food.
Okay. Meaning how it was made?
Yeah, like how much heart and how much time and how much stress and
I was gonna say
how
the
much
sweat
yelling.
and tears also
Yeah.
that's going on in the
I
kitchen.
think I love that, and I think I didn't realize it till later on that like it's very repetitive, but it's always new. Right? You could do the same thing 450 times, but the 451 time, it's the one thing, right? It's the spilling of the salt by accident and then being like, oh man, and then all of a sudden it's a new masterpiece, right? It's this new thing. I think I fell in love with that. I think I fell in love with like the freedom of it, and then it's the satisfaction. It's giving. I'm an only child,
Okay.
so I think I've supported and carried, sadly, a lot of my group. It always felt like I always wanted to be like a brother.
A group meaning your friends.
My crew, yeah,
Okay.
kind of the crew.
Okay.
Connected was everybody that I
Your
grew
friends.
up with. I'm still working with these kids 30 years later. They worked with me when I was a kid. Sneakers, from reselling. We had the office, from the office to connected, from connected to working at Regina's.
They're still with you.
They're still here. They're my and I've really am true to my friends for a very long time.
I feel like that's like Jay-Z.
Yeah, I mean, it is very true. We got a long way to go.
Fair. You'll get there. Okay. So you say you felt that, and especially when you saw it in a restaurant, you saw how it was made. Did you work in a restaurant at a young age? Did you get that taste real
13.
life? 13.
Yeah, 13. We used to spend our summers in Ocean Beach, Fire Island.
Cool.
We used to go, and if you go and it's like a beach. I don't want to say beach bum, but like a beach town.
Beach bum that turns up.
Yeah.
Or at least now.
Yeah, now. So I worked in this place called the Sun and Moon when I was 13. I had super fun. I loved it.
Cooking?
Cooking.
Cool.
Cooking. And I learned, chef was drunk one day, didn't come in, and they were like, yeah, Rome, you got it. Just make eggs and pancakes and you'll figure it out. And I just went crazy in the kitchen, rat-tattooed it, and I had fun. And ever since that day.
Wait, they didn't give you like a set anything?
No, he taught me. I was there for like a month. He didn't show up. And they were like, hey, he's not here. Can you handle it? It's not so busy, but as a kid, I was like 13. I was like, yeah, I was doing it. I was throwing shit. I was killing it. Oh, I took it serious and I liked it and I learned. And then later, yes, I had an amazing mentor in food. He's still in food. He's like my big brother, Stephen Gallo. He taught me and gave me like a job, kind of, pretty much, in his restaurants. He brought me... He opened up a restaurant in Soho, and he was like, hey, I'm not from Soho. You're from Soho. Like, we love each other. Come in.
What was the restaurant?
It was called, at the time, Gali.
Gali. Okay.
It was on Mercer Street. And he gave me a job, and I worked with him for like a year. And it's crazy. I used to wear a marker in my hat. I have this like thing with my hat. I don't take my hat off, I feel like. It's like Superman's cape. It's like, it doesn't really happen, doesn't come off. But I always used to keep a marker in my hat.
Okay.
And he would yell at me every week and be like, this isn't a deli. Regina's wasn't even a thought.
Wasn't a thing yet.
I was going to open up a restaurant. What the hell am I doing opening up a deli? But long story short, I worked for him. He taught me everything from kitchen to POS to how to make drinks to how to move on the floor to how to handle things. And he gave me my first restaurant like run. And still to this day, if I'm ever in in a bind, I call him, and he's still in the business.
I was just going to ask you, does he still have restaurants?
Got a bunch of restaurants all over.
Okay, so he's done well.
Yeah, he's doing well.
He took Gali and ran.
Yeah, he's running fast.
Okay.
So he's good.
All right, that's an amazing experience, especially just full hands-on, not necessarily cook. You're experiencing everything.
That's really how I steer my ship. Okay. I was going to do The Office, as I said, and then as I got The Office, my boy, was like another very good friend of mine and my brother forever, we had the concept of doing this thing together, and it was going to be called Mama's Boy. And I was going to do this like fast franchise Italian restaurant. And I was talking to my friends, and my friends were like, bro, you're a Guido Subway. That sounds so stupid. And I was like, yo, you know what? You're right.
That's amazing.
And then my other boy was like, yo.
Are you pumping that scent out of Regina's also like Subway?
Exactly. Burnt garlic is ours. And he was like, yo, like every Italian deli is like named after like Lenny and John. He was like, Regina.
Your mom.
And he was like, yo, Regina took care of all of us. Like, that's the home. Like, that's our homie. Like, it's got to be Regina. And then my other boy was like, Regina means queen, and all of a sudden this thing came together, and I called her and I was like, yo, you ready? She was like, for what? And I was like, we're opening up a deli and we're going to call it Regina's. And that was it.
And she was 50% partner of you, or just like?
It's her store.
It's hers.
Yeah. I opened it up for her, and it's her thing. And then we took it somewhere else.
Did she ever cook in it? Like, was she making the sandwiches?
Day one. Never made a sandwich.
Oh.
My mom helped me design the sandwiches.
Okay.
Every sandwich is designed from the characteristic of a family member.
Can you walk me through all that? Because I have my favorite.
Okay.
But I want to understand. So there's what, about 12?
12.
Wow. I did not count before this. It was just visually looking at your menu.
Yeah.
12 sandwiches. Every single one of them is a family member or a buddy or
Whole family.
Family.
Yeah. Big boys were the biggest members of my family. My Uncle John was like my everything. My dad's brother still like fucks me up to this day. He passed.
Sorry.
It's okay. He was the opposite of my father.
In what way?
He had every way. Everything right or wrong, this man had control over in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And he's kind of like holds a flag on an avenue that no one can touch.
Got it.
No one.
Okay. I think I'm getting the picture you're painting.
So he had everything in the world. So we gave him the biggest of what the classic was. He has everything from top to bottom. Classic hero, every cold cut, monster.
Loaded
big one.
You almost can't finish it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So Uncle Jimmy was his, like, I would say in stature, his duplicate.
This is his
uncle.
His uncle.
So it was my Uncle John was my uncle, my father's brother, but Uncle Jimmy was his.
So your great uncle.
Yeah. He was also a legend in Brooklyn for many different reasons. He also had this on his knuckles.
The same tattoos.
Same tattoo. He had it on his knuckles. He gambled with his hands. So he sadly, long story, passed away when I was very young. My cousins were very young, but he was a very spicy, specific human in this world. So we made him
spicy sandwich,
the big one with the spicy. We're from Calabria and Naples, and I knew spice was something that the world was leaning towards. So that was our kicker. It was Calabrian chili. And then everything else down the line, my grandmother, my mother's mother, my father's mother who passed
Lucy?
When he was very young.
That's my favorite
Lucy,
sandwich.
She was a superstar. She was bleach blonde hair in the 50s. She was 6'2". She was totally different superstar.
Was she also Italian?
She was Italian. Wow. Yeah. We have photos of her at like the bricklayers ball. She looks like a light bulb. Everyone has black hair. She has bleach blonde hair. And she's towering over people.
Wow.
And she didn't want you cooking in the house. She would barbecue outside with an umbrella when it was raining. If you dirtied her house, she would kill you. So tuna fish was her thing.
She never cooked in the house? Like that was just
She would really never cook in the house. My grandfather was a great cook.
But on a grill.
He cooked anywhere. He wouldn't care. He would tell Lucy, back up, I'm going to do it. But he cooked wherever he wanted, wherever he could. But my grandmother was super specific. Do not dirty the house. So
okay, so her sandwich, it's the tuna. I love tuna. But you have a few sandwiches with tuna.
Two.
But hers
is the non-spicy.
Yeah.
Hers is like the classic. No mayo, Italian tuna, olive spread. And we jazzed it up like her. There is cheese on it. I felt like, it wasn't what you're supposed to do. But you go down the line.
I feel like when you're in sandwich territory, you can blend fish and cheese.
You kind of want it.
It's like a tuna melt.
Exactly. You kind of want it. So I went down that road. My cousin Philly is super, super plain. He's ham and cheese. He used to
Almost
eat
like a Cubano? Like, is it pressed? Is it?
nah, nothing.
No,
He doesn't
it's
do any of that.
just
Ham, cheese, lettuce. He used to eat pizza bites, and that was it.
yikes.
He was super specific. He didn't care.
Okay.
My Uncle Phil is like the classic Italian. It's prosciutto mozzarella on a classic hero. His daughter is very, very specific, but super classic. She's on Storado bread. So we gave her the twist. My Uncle Rocco was amazing. Super, super spicy. Him and his wife were knocking people out till they were about 80, literally. So we gave him the tuna flip, because it's my grandma Lucy's brother. So
Okay.
that was the connection there. And Uncle Rocco and the whole thing.
Do all of these family members also live in Brooklyn? Or they
did.
live? They did. Okay.
Sadly,
so at
there's
one
no one
point,
left.
no one.
Yeah.
Okay. But at one point, they were all in Bensonhurst or around? Damn.
Bensonhurst is strong.
Yeah.
And then it just goes down. They get like simpler. My mother doesn't have a sandwich, which we always thought was hilarious, but I did it purposely to like bust their balls.
Well, she's also like the queen. She owns the spot. She shouldn't have her sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
All of them are hers.
Exactly. The store is her. That's what I always said. We poke fun of my dad for like 3 weeks. He thought he was a vegetarian, so we gave him the caprese, and I stick it to him every day because he was definitely not a vegetarian. But I don't care.
Had a moment.
I torture my father, so it's great. And then the rest are in between. Big Anthony, you could figure it out. It's mortadella and it's big.
Cheese.
You can figure it out. He's
Mozzarella.
a big guy. He's a big dude, so Big Anthony.
Which location was number one? Regina's Orchard. And what year was that?
Almost 7 years ago.
Wow. And now you're up to 4. No.
4.
Or 4.5 because the Williamsburg.
No, we just moved. We're 4 and we have some fun ones coming.
Having 4 locations and successful locations in New York City, what do you think is the magic to keeping this open? Where, I mean, New York City, it's a turn. It's a turn every few years. So how do you stay open? And how do you stay fresh and keep the people interested? And the menu doesn't really change. So
I don't know. I love this thing so much. It's really all I could say. I don't know.
maybe your love just comes out.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I am so finicky and so specific, and I will always do something that I push and I stand behind. And I think those little things, I need to do a better job of making them mass. Like, I'm just figuring out how to use Instagram. I'm just figuring out how to do like marketing stuff, which sounds so stupid coming from me because I don't do it for myself.
yeah, but I feel like you hear that so often. You could do it for somebody else so easily, or a brand or a restaurant. But when it's you as the focal point, it's a different game.
And then the other thing is, which to my like downfall maybe, is we operate in neighborhoods strictly. So what we're looking to do next is looking to do something that's not a neighborhood to see if we break the mold more in a business sense.
Yeah.
So I'm speaking to bigger people in this world that I'm super interested in, like procedure and operation. I'm getting like just my OCD and numbers. I'm getting very interested in like the founder. Like, how do we take this sandwich and make 10 of them in that same amount of time with this, but giving you the perfection, but not moving more than 3 steps. Like, I'm like super interested into these like weird things now.
It's not weird. I feel like that's how you grow and make a chain and it's a different world then.
Yeah. So I'm learning that. But that's a big goal. But yeah, we're very neighborhood. So I think the neighborhood element is what really, really keeps us there. Because people feel like it's like their mom's house. Like, I built these things. I mean, again,
it really feels like you walk into somebody's house. And I've been in 2 of the 4 locations, and you want to hang. You know, there's stuff you could shop around. You could obviously make your sandwich, but like also the people that I think you hire in your shops are these all your buddies also?
It's hard because we hire so specific, but yeah.
But they want to hang out with you. Mm-hmm. I remember having a full conversation.
Good and bad.
Yeah. You're there for a while. Yeah. But the conversations I've had, I want them to continue. But the one on Bedford is really close to my home. Mm-hmm. So I pass it all the time. I a lot of the time will just stick my head in to see who's in there, have a conversation about pizza, have a conversation about like it's just such a family forward feeling that I do think people are so attracted to that because not I'm sure there are many places like that, especially in New York City, but not a lot. It's hard to feel like home in such a big city.
That's what drove us to do this. There was a place called Joe's Dairy on Sullivan Street that felt like that. Pino's meat store feels like that.
Where's Pino's?
Pino's is on Sullivan as well.
Oh,
it's
in
a
Soho.
little pork store.
Okay.
Yeah. Joe's Dairy is no longer there, but it's definitely an inspiration for some of the things I did in the shop. The old John's Deli, when you walked in, it like took over you felt like you walked into like a bubble.
Yeah.
And you were like immersed into this world. And when you stepped outside, it was gone.
You're back.
Yeah. When you step into some of these rooms, that was what, that's what I loved about a lot of these things. And that's what I think I love about hospitality. I love about restaurants is you could sit at a table and, be transported anywhere in the world. And I love the high and low of stuff. I love from, pizza joints to fine dining places to everything in the world. And I also have like such an extreme like respect for chefs and the discipline. It's not me. It's not who I am. I never claimed to be a chef. But yeah, I love it all. And I think to answer your question, really, I really, really love what we are doing. It's not me. It's what we are doing. It's my team. It's my mother. It's my, beautiful partner. It's my son, it's everyone that's a part of it. And that keeps giving the store new life. It keeps pumping this like extra like 2 cents in. And that's really what you need. It's that extra little bit that changes everything.
Well, now I feel like when I envision Regina's, I see the photo shoot in my brain of you, your mom, your wife? No, your wife, almost wife,
fiance.
And your child. And it is one of... the level of sex appeal from Ange that, God, I go to bed thinking about her sometimes, to the adorable son, to your mother who's iconic. Like, it's just such it's Regina's. Like, it screams what you are creating, and it's so iconic.
Thank you.
And it's just a fan. I feel like, if I'm not trying to sum anything up, but Regina's just feels so much like family.
Yeah.
In a 180. Like, it's all of it.
That's really going down the road of like growth or chain. And again, you sit across the table from these people that have built franchises that are just
there's no soul.
Like not normal. They sell something, right? Like they all sell something. What does McDonald's sell like French fries, or does it sell like everything sells something.
Sure.
We're going down the road. We're selling family. We're not selling sandwiches. That's why I don't change the menu. I bring in people that are family to make a sandwich. That's the marketing, right? That's the deal. That's where I highlight you. So Vashti's part of my family. So we can do that. And it's authentic because I'm not jumping on something. I know her for God knows how many years, right? It feels right. So that's where I think we take, a different turn to everything. And again, we don't sell sandwiches. I never walk around saying I sell sandwich. Like, we sell sandwiches. We definitely are selling family, and we're selling like a vision or feeling. I actually wish the ones that aren't around to actually be able to see it, because this is something they built this. Yeah. We didn't. We don't have this like past. We don't have any of it.
No.
We're too young. They built this era. They were the ones that formed this vision. They were the ones that were walking around the house with a point and shoot camera. They were the ones that did all these things. We're taking their photos and using them as a prop, right? Like, it's not us. Yes, my son's photos are there for me, but what created this brand was what they built. It was their lives. Otherwise, it would look like a Subway. But when you walk into my store, it looks like people come by my store. There's a tour that walks around Mulberry Street and says the place has been there for 50 years. I'm there 2.5 years. The guy's lying to people. And there was a tour on Orchard Street that did the same.
They're believing it. Because it feels like that. It's such a nostalgic feel.
So yeah, so it's them. I wish they were there.
Does Luca have a sandwich?
No. Once he can make it,
He can have.
he could have it.
Okay, that's fair.
He's making his own sandwich.
Yeah, but I saw a recent photo of him wearing like a chef's apron and a this.
Oh, he's a chef.
That's amazing.
He's walking around the house with a chef hat, with a
That's
chef
amazing.
apron.
Does
He
that
has his own
excite
kitchen.
you
It does.
or make you scared?
A little bit of both.
Because as a chef, if my daughter was doing that, I'd be like, really?
Yeah,
There's so many other careers.
That's kind of how I feel, but you know, we're giving him the shot to do
Whatever he wants.
whatever. He's very, very much like me. He's technical. He's building. He's putting things together. He's putting Legos together already. He's infatuated with cars and driving. So he's very into putting things together, and I think that's why he likes the kitchen. He mixing three different
put things
things
together.
Yeah, he puts things together. He loves it, and he likes his little get up right now. He has a little chef hat, and he's killing it.
He's
And he sees
cute.
that I cook with him every night, so he's very like in the mix. So
He looks up to you. You touched upon not being good at social media or content for yourself. What's your take being in food, but also, I mean, you wear many hats within the food world right now. But like, what's your opinion on, like, I feel like food content has kind of blown up in such a degree that it's slightly overwhelming. How do you feel about that? Is there good in it? Is there bad? You're such a storytelling guy and marketing is your calling. Like, do you think that they're telling a good story, or is it kind of like a quick swipe? That was a loaded question. I'm sorry.
yeah, it's a hard question, but it's a double-edged sword. I think too many people are doing the same thing. That's where I have a problem with, but that's me trying to solve a problem. Or I'm getting bored.
Back to
Like, I want to break something. Now I'm like, oh, you guys do the same thing. I want to break it. I'm like, how could I do this in reverse and make people interested and like kind of lose them, but kind of get the person to be like, wow, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
That when they get it. The problem is that doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, I had conversations with people, and I still have conversations with people about how things used to be. Guess what? How things used to be doesn't work today.
Mm-hmm.
It's not cool to have something that no one knows about, right? Because it's too far off. But back in the day, having something that you had to go and hunt for, it's like, it's back to where my life was. Like finding that steep tech on eBay. Now, you take your phone out, you go to StockX, and you buy it.
Yeah, it's too easy.
It was so much work.
Yeah.
So that whole system doesn't hold the same value. So like me trying to break that mold of what they're doing does me no good. Because I should just sit there with the phone in front of me, make a meatball parm with my son in the background, and I'll probably be okay.
You'd probably be viral.
Instead, I'm like, no, Luca, we're going to do this on the car outside with an aerial view. And it doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
So to that point, I think all of it is good, right? Like I was super against it. But that's just being jealous, right? Like, I guess like, oh, this guy's got whatever and he's doing it and I could do it. But there's people that are doing it, and they're also doing it in a way that works. They're super like educational. I became like, I think his name is Thomas Stryker.
Butter guy?
Butter.
Yeah.
He's the man. Like, I don't know him from a hole in the wall, but I like him. I watch him. I think he's ill.
Entertaining.
I think he's really, really good at what he does.
Hit. And I just think food is clearly having, or maybe I'm blinded by it, but I think it's having such an overwhelming moment right now. And everyone's a chef, everyone's a content creator,
Well, everyone's everything.
Yeah.
Right? I think that there's certain things that are like under your microscope as well, coming from like where you are, right? Let's say.
Of course.
But I think everything is everything right now. And again, it's like, that's my issue. So is it anti-social to break the mold and be like, oh, I'm not posting anything? Is that the way to like flip the card?
If you don't post anything, you're going to be forgotten.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the world that we live in.
Thank you. Yeah, it's so hard. It's such a double-edged sword. And I think for everything. And again, I think that the people that are doing it, I think she's amazing. Thomas Stryker's amazing. I don't really watch all that much, but these are things that stick out, and you know they stick out for a reason, just because they're doing a great job. So food is interesting. I would just love to know how many of them are doing good food. at the end of the day.
I know, we're not tasting it.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing to me. Like, it looks great. You set this up. You have 4 cameras. You got, a sunny living room.
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Do you know what you're doing? Like, did you?
Well, a lot of the content creators, and I'm in a world where like, I don't know actually where to place myself, because like I am classically trained. I have worked in restaurants. So I kind of know what the fuck I'm doing.
Sure.
But like these people, when I look up to them that have 1 million and up followers, I'm like, do you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you know? And that's such a harsh critique. But I also think it's a critique, but it also definitely is a level of jealousy of like, you've done something right. Like a lot of things, right? To have such a following and such a, so yeah, it's
hard. It's hard.
It's a juggle.
But I think everyone's having
Depends
that.
on what side of the bed I wake up on, if I appreciate them or not.
It's like, but even for me, right? Like, it's hard because what works well on Instagram, overly stacked sandwich, right?
Like a food porn is
or
what.
Some corny thing with melted cheese, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't do it. It would work, but I don't have it in me to do that. So that's really just what it is. If you want to, listen, sometimes you just got to lean in. Yeah. It is what it is. I think that's really what it comes down to.
I know.
And then just have fun. You'll find no one's going to, at the end of the day, like, even if you are doing the same thing, it's not the same. I make sandwiches. I don't care if you open up a sandwich store right next to me. It'll be
different.
Yeah. I'll be excited. I would be happy for you. I'll tell you who my bakery is. You will not make the same sandwich as me. I don't care.
Being a father, becoming a father. Luca is now 2.5? 2.
2 and 3 months.
Okay. Wow. Exactly 1 year older than Mars. How has that shifted life? How has that shifted perspective? How has that shifted your time management? All of it.
I'm very scared.
Same.
Never been scared in my life.
Yeah. I mean, you're supporting another person. That's your everything. Very
scared. Yeah. Very scared. But scared in a good way.
It's like a motivational
scare. I make moves totally different. You could have told me tomorrow I had this idea, open up a Pinelli shop. I was like, yeah, no doubt. I'll get the place. I'll build it. I'll do it in 48 hours. You ready to go? Let's go. Now I'm like, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Go to Google Sheets and I'm punching in numbers. I'm like, all right, I'm going to figure this. If this is going to take away from Luca's X, Y, and Z, I'm done. It's not only that, it's also, my partner's life as well.
Of course.
It changed.
Your family as a whole.
Yeah, it changes everything for me. And I think Luca's well-being makes Angela's well-being so much better. We do everything together.
Yeah.
She's part of my everyday move, from the things that she doesn't want to be a part of, which I'm sorry, baby, this is life, and to to everything else. And I just think that every move that we make is based off of like the unit, and I think that, every move that we make for him also has to be beneficial to us. And that's something that she's teaching me. I'm super stubborn and super hard-headed and just old school, I guess. And I think I look at things a very like linear way to just be like safe, or what I think is safe. So since the little guy's been, knocking around, we do look at everything differently. I'm really, really, and again, I'm scared in a different way.
It's scared in for me at least, like a cautious scared.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to make every right move. And I used to be the most spontaneous, probably relatively reckless decision maker. I'd be like, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah.
Kind of like let's open let's do it.
Yeah.
And with having this little being, you really do question everything. And it really is about them. And it's about, well, that's going to take away, even if it's 20 more minutes a day.
Sure.
That I would be spending with her versus
that is absolutely.
It changes everything.
I agree for sure. Very, very true. It's fun.
It's a whole journey, whole journey of a child.
Yeah, it's fun.
I am still figuring it out. She's only 1 and 3 months, and it's been absolutely amazing. I feel like we're getting to that fun stage, and like she loves food, and she loves it's It's so exciting, just letting her try something new for the first time, and either she's spitting it out, and I'm like, okay, that took 25 minutes, but it's fine. We'll have cheese, you know.
Yes.
I'm just accepting that, but her reaction towards life is just everything.
You are at the fun stage. Things are going to start
Turning.
getting very fun.
Fun, but then also even more challenging.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever going to get easier. My dad always said it. He would be like, you didn't come with instructions.
And every kid is different.
And to this day, we're still like learning, right? Like through hard times, through good times, you learn. And you also learn how to speak to each other, but your dynamic is always changing. Like my dad still thinks I'm a little kid.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm not. Like
I think there's something there with Italian culture.
Yeah, for sure.
Both of my parents, more my mom. It's as if like I'm still 5 years old. I swear to God. I'm like, I take care of you now. We're at that point in life, and it'll just never be that.
Yeah, like the roles change, and I think that there's like that reversal takes time. But then you just realize that everything takes time.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like look at us today. Like we're still evolving, still learning, still want more, still can learn more. Really don't know that much, right? Like, so on their side it's different. They're from a different generation and they learn differently, and it's all the same. Like how we absorb is different than how they absorb, and
Absolutely.
how we look is different than how they look at certain things. So, and they were more restricted because they had less. So
you
it's
had one
totally
job for 40
different.
years
Yeah.
usually.
So it's totally different, So crazy.
Bringing it back to restaurants, specifically New York City restaurants, if there was any amount of advice that you would give to somebody that wants to enter into the food world or possibly open a food venture, what would that advice be?
Man, I don't know. It sounds
Don't
bad.
do it.
Yeah. Sounds bad. Don't fucking do it.
I hear Gary in the back of my head of like,
The problem is it's like anything else. You don't know until you have to know. And that's the restaurant business. There's so many don't knows. And there's so many things you have to do as a restaurant owner, regardless of the size, which is horrible. And you learn that depending on how you enter, right? Like I have 3 guys in my kitchen. I can only make
in every kitchen
300 sandwiches a day, let's say, right?
Yeah.
But a 3-guy line can also do 300 meals in a day. So it's like, it's such a hard thing to understand. I think at the end of the day, really, really love what you're doing. Have an amazing cushion behind you because things do not always turn out the way you want.
Yeah.
And, there literally is a fire to put out every day. So make sure that you're comfortable getting burned.
I feel like no matter what in restaurant culture, you're going to get burned a little bit.
There's no way. Yeah. There's someone that I love. His name is Shep Gordon.
Chef Gordon?
Shep. He is probably one of the most successful music managers in the world.
Okay.
But he invented the chef, if you would. He managed Emeril Lagasse, Wolfgang Puck. He made them celebrities. It had nothing to do with their food.
It was the image. It was the brand.
It was the brand. It was the marketing, which is so interesting in this business because that's what makes the business, which is scary.
It's what people believe in. I think that's what, even tying it back to the content creators right now.
That's
like if people believe in your brand, even if it's bullshit, they're diehard fans. They're forever followers.
That's what I would say to do if you do this business. Become a brand, have something behind you, and then you can move, and then you could do so much. Mm-hmm. Stryker, I don't want to talk money, but I've heard he sold X amount of butter sticks.
Oh my God, he's doing very well.
If you do the numbers,
it's
absurd, right? He's got 1 million followers. If he did 10%, he sells 100,000 at $10. He made $1 million off of Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Probably more.
Real easy.
Before I go into all my little speed round questions, so you have Regina's. You also have 2 robbers. What else do you have going on? I feel like we didn't ask
I
this.
have connected still an agency.
Mhm.
I am opening a new health food concept called Mixed Ingredients.
Cool. That's in Soho also,
It's
right?
going to be on Orchard Street. Um,
Can you
and
can you talk about that at all, or more of
yeah,
a surprise?
yeah. So one of the first companies I invested in was called Well. It was a functional beverage, which is what we called it. We didn't like health. We didn't like all those stupid words that were around it, because if you didn't work out, then you couldn't drink it. If you didn't do this, you couldn't do that. If you didn't have some like Instagram body, why would you pick it up? We hated that. I hated it. It was more me. And I went with function. I move quick. I don't really care about nonsense, and I hate bullshit. So we designed the product that was exactly that.
And it's a beverage.
It was a beverage. We're no longer in business, but that was the idea. That started this.
Okay.
And since then, I've always had this thing for functional beverage. And I wanted to build a business that was based off of function, where you have 10 minutes. What are the three things you need? You want an espresso with milk. You want protein. You want grab 2 hard-boiled eggs, or you want carbs with a little sweet and you need calories, grab a peanut butter and jelly. It's all the most basic stuff in a super functional level, really, really accessible with, again, no bullshit. So I'm not Italian. It's not, there's no ethnicity.
It's fast and it's functional.
It's New York. So we're doing everything that's New York based, just better. And if you want an espresso and you want milk, it's not a cappuccino, it's not a macchiato, it's not a latte. It's a cappuccino with 2 ounces of milk. You want a latte, it's 6 ounces of milk. You want an over ice, no problem. You want a smoothie, you want protein, blueberries, and bananas, you're going to get it. Really, really straightforward, really easy, really fast.
Is it like, is the vision in a sense almost taking like a Pret where things are in a refrigerator and you kind of grab and go, meets like Joe and the Juice where they can also make stuff? Okay.
That's kind of it.
Cool.
It was going to be called Funk Bar. Everyone looked at me like I was crazy, but it's still going to be functional bar. The thing is, we're in New York. We're not Japanese. I'm not twiddling matcha. We're shaking it like a bar. We're doing everything our style. We're New York. We're flipping everything, doing everything our way. So that's next.
When is that looking
Next
to open?
month.
It's going to open in the next month?
Yeah.
Holy
The
fuck.
space is built. I've just been a little preoccupied with some other stuff, so I haven't gotten it done yet.
Will you be doing a hard launch? Will you do?
I don't know. I don't really know. I think I want to get it open and have some fun. I have crazy marketing ideas. I have 3 monster collaborations. People are really interested because it's not a sandwich. It's not Italian. And I'm super, super proud of that. I really want to be like a New Yorker, which is what I really like, who I am.
On the go, eating well.
Yeah. We're working on a kid's book, which I'm super, super excited about.
Talk to me about that. I am also working on a kid's book.
It's called Regina's Little Meatball.
Oh, it's
And it is being done right now, but it's a recipe book along with a story. So we're going to teach you how to do meatballs, rigatoni, and tomato sauce.
one full book, or like there's sections to the book?
It's one book with those 3 things. So you complete like Sunday sauce.
Okay.
And you do that in one grouping, but then there's also ways for alternatives, which sometimes happen. And we're going to teach that in the book.
Okay.
So it's like, oh, like, you know, you have leftover pasta. This is what you can do. You have meatballs. This is what you could do. You have extra tomato sauce. This is what you do. And you give them these like options. So they learn option. They learn like mathematics with like recipe. They learn crisis management. And they get like a fun story. Luca is the boy. The book is designed to be Luca. He's my splitting image when we were kids, and it's coming from my mom. But we like look to do like a series. And the agency is coming back to do some like cool stuff. I've been kind of under a rock, not really touching agency stuff. So we're working on some really cool stuff now. And Regina's just coming out with like a full line, like I don't want to say like merch, but we're doing
like a lifestyle
full, like wow, like we're building everything. I have an insane jersey coming out. this was really cool. We did this with Mersby, which just made sense because they did everything with the bear. So this was like a teaser. We're doing like, which people have done before, but like a little bit of like designer workwear.
Like a functional or
Yeah, like kitchenware, like 2.0.
okay.
Cut better, styled better, fit better, with like all your classics.
Okay.
So
Apron.
we're gonna like mix. No apron actually. I think people have the apron, like
Okay.
and also like if you worked in a kitchen before, you know who Arrow is. Like Arrow's delivering your aprons and taking them out. You don't really care.
You don't really need it.
You don't need it, but something that you wear, in the other sense, I think is really cool. But yeah, it serves a super function. We're doing these like wacky like meat locker like vests if you have to work in the freezer. We're doing like gloves, really like tactical, smart, but also like non-gender. I think that means a lot.
All like kitchen, home cook meats.
Yeah, and then some classics in between. Like
Okay.
we're bringing back like the old school grandma, like apron that no one does anymore. Like we're bringing back some really old school stuff, and that's kind of like that's the 360 right now. Working on the biggest thing I have is my family right now. I think working on us and making sure we're all safe and sound is the most important.
I agree with that.
So
That comes first. Everything else comes second.
yeah,
Second, third, fourth.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. The next question was like, what is next for you? But I feel like we've touched upon that. But if you want to add anything in that,
I want to do something in real estate. I've always loved the business. And
In
again,
what
it's
regard?
a numbers
Like,
business
in
in
the-
all.
okay.
I want to buy, build, flip, restore,
Mm-hmm.
occupy. I love the business. I think it's such a great business. I think there's so many good and bad loopholes in the business.
For sure. New York real
That I
estate is
like.
tough.
Yeah, so I like it. I love it. I've always loved it. I've done some really cool things. I brought some people here. I'm doing commercial real estate like very like under the radar, helping friends bring in people or identify the right person for the right space. But if you come to me today, I could tell you what it's going to cost. I could tell you if your plumbing's right. I could tell you if you have enough electricity. I could find the people to build it. I could source everything. You could basically tell me you want to be in Soho and you want to open up, a peanut butter and jelly shop. I could find you a place, build it, brand it, market it, build your staff.
Your one-stop shop.
Yeah, I could kind of get it. I think that's what I want Connected to do next.
Okay.
No pun intended with like the Connected stuff, but I want us to do soup to nuts on that stuff, and I want to find brands that maybe are on Instagram. Someone's doing some wacky corn dog, and we help them open it, or
Absolutely.
Pinelli shop, and we help them open it. And I can do everything. I have all the contacts. I have all the people. I think it's interesting, and it's not about me. I want to do stuff for other people, and I want to support them, and I want to build them like a super foundation, and then I want to be able to do everything else on the business. House or commercial.
Kind of be the soft founder of all. Well, not founder, but the
Yeah.
soft partner.
Yeah, I
in
want to
all
be a
these
quiet
ventures.
guy. I'm happy in the background, and if you ever need me, I'll step to the front. But I think that's really what I want to do next, and I'm trying to figure that out. And the deals that I'm doing today are very much in that lane. So it's like partnering with big body things and understanding that business and why and how it works.
Yeah.
And then what's the outline to that and how does that work? And then what's the smaller line of stuff? And
That's
kind
really
of
cool.
educating my stuff in that world. But that's what I want to do next. I want to do like a 360 commercial real estate hospitality thing. I don't know what it is.
I think there's a lot of legs there, and I think there's a lot of people that would be interested in having somebody be able to come in and kind of navigate and gear you in all of the right direction, and kind of workshop with you to get to where you want to be. It's like a doomsday situation if you want to open something and you never have.
Yeah.
You have experience in a lot of different avenues.
Yeah, I hit the floor in every which way. And I think I always try to tell that to Angela or anyone, like, I've fallen enough for everyone. Sometimes you have to fall, but like I've fallen enough and I paid, right? I paid for it. So I would love to like help out. I think it's great. I think it's cool. And also like seeing someone else's dream come to life and finding ways to support it is like the Shep Gordon like thing. He's like a guru.
Absolutely.
I'm far from a guru, but like I would love to be a part of these things. And there's so much, right? Like I can only come up with so many ideas, but you could come up with,
And you
50, like, so I think it's really cool. It's what I really want to do. And it's a solid business, right? Like just makes sense. It's safe. That's next.
Okay. I really love that. And I feel like it really fits with everything else that you've already kind of paved the way for yourself and for the community that you've also paved.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm rooting for you there. All right. Last question for people visiting New York. If somebody's visiting, what are like top 5 spots, high, low, it doesn't matter, that you would tell them to dine at while in New York City?
Proper dine or
High and low. It could be
just eat.
To go. Yeah.
That's a good question. 5?
You could give me 3.
And
one of them can be Regina's.
Okay, so that's easy. Come to Regina's, hang out. Mm-hmm. It's good. Go to Orchard Street, get all the bells and whistles. I think if you come to New York, depends on what experience you're looking for, right? I think there's so many experiences that you could have. You could have like New York, like Brooklyn experience in every borough, or you could have like a true New York experience, which is very different. If you're doing a New York experience, I think you need to go to Servos or like a Eel Bar or something like that. I think you get a real 360 of what New York hospitality is today.
Love both of those.
I don't think anyone's doing a better job than he is. And respect to everybody, but I think he's the best. I think he's unbelievable. He's so smart, so cool. Mm-hmm. He does a great job.
It's packed every night.
He hits the nail. He hit the nail on the head so hard that no one even knows what to say about him. He hit a home run. And then there's like, you go to New York, you go to the industry. My favorite slice in the world is L&B, but like Nikki and Masi are probably the nicest humans in the world.
Yeah.
Masi is not New York, but just he's got a bigger heart than this city, than most people in this city. And Nick doesn't make a difference. He's done nothing wrong in his entire life. Even if he's done wrong, he's done nothing wrong. He's the best. I love him to death. I enjoy hugging that. He's the best. He's like
shout out Nick.
I love him to death. I mean, Massimo is unbelievable. He tortures me. So whatever, but they are definitely the place to go to. And I think it's just so New York, and they're real.
I happen to think that they are one of my favorite slices in New York City.
Yeah, they're the best. For everything, right? Like that's why you come to New York.
You could also,
like you come to New York for these certain things. Go to Halal Guys, but on 52nd Street, like the real one by the Hilton Hotel. I think that's an experience that you need to get. And I don't care. You could say I'm old or don't do that. It's not good.
We're doing high and low.
They're fucking amazing. I think it's such a New York thing. You wait online outside. It's great. And then I think after that, I would love to say something that's not Italian. I mean, high-end restaurants in New York are tough, right? There's so many different versions of high-end. But Danielle just opened up a new steakhouse in Flatiron. I can't think of the name right now. It's great. But he's great. It's what you expect.
Yeah.
He kind of hit the, nail on the head again. But
Danielle.
Yeah, that's why I feel like I'm cheating. But
that's not cheating. Even experiencing Danielle for one time in your life is kind of life-changing.
Yeah. And then Chez Fifi, I think, is top. They did an amazing job. That group is amazing. Like the Nas group is great. I think that's really it. I mean, I think New York, you need to experience New York. And I think experiencing New York
is wandering into
you got to like kind of wander and fall down a little bit, and you stumble upon stuff. And I think it's very catered to who you want and how you want to experience New York. I could take you down memory lane and take you to places that you're like, holy shit, this is New York. Or I could take you to places like, hey, listen, this is every place you want to go to, you want to take a photo of, and so on and so forth. There's so many different experiences in New York, and that's what New York is so amazing. And that's why we're here. I think New York has so many different faces. It just depends on,
what the day brings.
Yeah, which eyes you want to look into.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe to Campers wherever you listen to podcasts and leave a review. I'll catch you next time.